Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars, welcome to another PlayStation review. Today's review is for the Ascent on the PlayStation 5. Now this is a game that I did play for a short period of time when it was released on Xbox last year. It was free on Game Pass, so I did put a couple of hours into it, but nothing more really. However, it's just been on a recent sale in the PlayStation Store, and as I do the bulk of my gaming on my PlayStation, essentially, because it's easier to record footage and do reviews and gameplay, all that kind of stuff, I decided to pick it up in the sale and put some time into this game. Now, I put a poll up recently on on YouTube to ask what review that you guys wanted to see next, and this one came out on top, so that is why I am here giving you this review, guys. Now, I've put a significant amount of time into this game. And what can you expect from the Ascent? Well, it essentially is a top-down isometric, futuristic, cyberpunk-inspired shooting game. Almost a looter shooter in many ways as well. And as you can see from how the game looks, it is certainly very, very impressive to look at. I think the aesthetic here is absolutely spot on. It looks really, really beautiful. The environments really detailed, and I do think they need an awful lot of plaudits for making the game look really quite as beautiful as this. It's got a really, really nice aesthetic to it. It's got this gritty, dirty, grimy feel to it, as you would expect a world like this to feel, you know, full of litter and dirtiness. And the city centres are like crammed full of people. And it feels a very, very dangerous place to be. And that essentially what this game is. You start off the game, you are essentially a slave. And then you kind of become a gun for hire for all the kind of local gangs. And while I don't think the story here is anything deep or in depth, and in actual fact is probably the weakest aspect of the game for me, doesn't draw you in and you don't feel like you're part of anything, and you don't really feel that you have a real connection to the story or your character or anything. It is essentially just you kind of going around, picking up main missions, picking up side missions, going from place to place, and shooting stuff, and lots of it. And that is the main primary draw of this game. Don't go into this game thinking it's going to be a deep, story-heavy game, because it really isn't. And while there is lots of missions and side missions and lots of characters to meet and locations to go to, it's not one of those games where you will feel massively familiar with A, the characters, or B, the locations. It's a case of, okay, I need to get from A to B to do this mission and kill all these bad guys. And along the way, you've got some pretty nice environments to look at. So while there are some RPG elements sewn into this game, and by that I mean upgrading your character, there are essentially 8 skills that you can upgrade on your character, and these range from things such as weapon handling, your health, aiming, tactical, all this kind of stuff. You can upgrade these to make them better, to make your handling better, to improve your health stats, all that kind of stuff. But also as well, it's got a really good element to it, this game, in regards to customization. You can customize your character from the start, whether you want a male or female, and it's quite in depth, but not as in depth as maybe some of the like top RPGs or anything like that. But it is nice for you to be able to create your own character, certainly. And throughout the game as well, there will be lots of loot for you to find, which is why I kind of said at the beginning it's a little bit like a looter shooter as well, this one. There's loads of loot boxes to find. There's loads of things that will get dropped by characters that you kill. And these will include upgrades or clothing items for your head, your torso, and your legs. And some of these will improve your stats if you wear them, or some of them you might just want to wear because they make you look really bloody cool. So it's pretty good as that, well, in regards to customization. So in regards to modes for this game, you get the single player mode, which is the mode I've been spending the vast majority of my time in. But you also can play this game on online co-op and couch co-op as well. So if those of you like to play this with a friend, you're well equipped to do that with this game. I would imagine there's a lot of fun to do that. You can change the difficulties, easy, medium, hard type of thing. There is a new game plus mode once you complete it. In regards to graphic options, you can basically turn on or off motion blur and film grain, but that's about it. It doesn't give you any more optimization options for the PlayStation 5. You've got like augmentations that you could put on your character playing this game, as you would expect in a cyberpunk type game. And these will essentially give you like special moves or certain buffs in certain areas. So that's really kind of how the augmentations work. And you've got lots of missions to choose from. You've got main missions and side missions, and there are plenty of them. The biggest issue, one of the biggest issues I found with this game was kind of getting from A to B. There is like a fast travel option available, but it's not particularly well established in the game. And about what I mean by that is you've got the option to fast travel by like paying for a taxi and things like that, but you're not really sure where you should be fast traveling to. And I've actually found it actually more rewarding to kind of travel from A to B on foot, because it gives you more options to find loot and level up. So I've mainly been doing that, and it can be quite lengthy walking around, because there are kind of levels in the game. There's like a main hub, like a city area, where you've got all your shops and places to get missions from, and then once you leave those areas, like the relative safety of those areas, you go to like different districts to kind of go on missions and things, and they become far more dangerous. And there's a whole array of different enemies for you to fight. Some of them will give you different challenges. Some of them are fairly easy. Some of them you will be required to like dodge and all this kind of stuff. And there's a load of weapons as well for you to kind of get stuck into the game. You've got like sidearms, you've got machine guns, and you've got shotguns essentially. And you can kind of equip a primary weapon and a secondary weapon, as well as like a tactical slot, which I've mainly been using for grenades and things like that. And you can upgrade. You can find weapons out in the field. People will drop them. You'll find them in loot boxes, but you can also buy them at like weapon vendors throughout different locations within the game. In regards to weaknesses then, again, while this is a PlayStation 5 game and it does look very, very beautiful, I'm sure it probably looks fairly similar on the PlayStation 4, if I'm being particularly honest. And I haven't played it on a PlayStation 4. It doesn't feel optimized, if you like, for PlayStation 5. It's chocked full of long loading screens. And it's got that age-old, old-fashioned thing of like a loading screen that is disguised with you kind of going on a lift, but essentially it's just a loading screen to the next level. So it kind of feels old-fashioned in that sense. It does, if you're not into like shooting games, because that is the main chunk of this game, you know it might not be for you, because it can feel quite repetitive, even though the combat I think is really slick, fast, and really smooth. I mean, it is very, very nice to play in regards to the combat. But other than that, I can't really give you a massive amount of weaknesses here. I mean, it's a nice blend of a few different genres, this game, but ultimately it is a shooting game, a top-down shooting game. If that isn't for you, this game isn't for you. But if you like these sort of games and you like it to kind of, you know, touch on other genres like RPGs and looter shooters sort of thing, there's lots here for you to enjoy, and it isn't expensive to pick up either. I think I paid something like $17.99 for this in the most recent PlayStation sale, sorry. So it's definitely worth picking up for that price. I think it's a lot of fun to be had with the game. It looks beautiful, really nicely made, very smooth to play, and definitely a game you will get plenty of enjoyment from. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you very much for watching, and of course I'll be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.